What's going on, people? Welcome back to Curtis Shaw TV. Gonna do a video today on will Arsenal sack Unai Emery now after the terrible 2-2 draw with Southampton at the weekend. I was at that game and that was awful. Southampton second from bottom. They looked like the better side. They pressed from the front. They kept the ball well. They had a number of clear-cut chances. And, I felt a little bit embarrassed sitting there, to be honest. It just didn't feel like Arsenal anymore. It's not even because we're dropping points. It's just the way we're playing. We're turning up. We look like babies on the pitch. Emery used to call us babies. I don't agree with everything that guy says, but I can see what he means. Our temperament, we're soft. And unfortunately, it hasn't changed under this manager. Now, moving on from that, there were a lot of rumours going around last night, and I actually heard this from somebody who's got quite good links within the club, who said they thought there was a possibility Emery was going to be gone today. It seems as if that's not going to happen, and that he's going to continue staying at the club. And the reason we're hearing is that the club don't want to spend the reported between 10 and 15 million pound fee that it will cost to get rid of Emery, as well as his staff members. Now, it's just a crazy situation, and it reverts back to my question I asked last week: is do the fans have to try and get this board out of the club? I think they're getting away with it a little bit. And you look, at the ambition, whether, Tottenham are our rivals, but, they got rid of Pochettino. Apparently it cost £12 million to get rid of him. And then the reports that Mourinho's on £15 million a season. How are they able to show that level of ambition, but we can't get rid of Unai Emery, who's, embarrassing our club at the moment. And then another question I have to ask is, if Emery was to go now, which manager do we bring in? Because this is another question that worries me. I'm looking around Europe and I'm going, okay, Allegri's out of the job. Apparently he wants a year out of football. Now, whether we could change his mind or not, I don't know. But the question is Arsenal an attractive proposition for a top manager right now? We're a long way outside of the top four. We're not in the Champions League. I doubt you would have big money to spend in January. You've got Aubameyang and Lacazette. You would struggle to hang on to those two if you can't get Champions League football this season. Our defence is all over the place. Our midfield is awful. You've got players like Xhaka, Torreira want to leave. Ceballos is on loan. Guendouzi's a young player. Pepe struggled to settle. David Luiz is in his mid-30s. Socrates looks past his best. Rob Holding's struggling. Bellerin looks like he's struggling since he's come back. Tierney's trying to get used to a new league. I've even seen rumours linking Leno with Bayern Munich in the summer. So, is it an attractive job for a manager to come and take? All right, we're a big club, but as a job, is it an easy job to come in and sort out? I said for a few weeks I would have taken Jose Mourinho. I don't want to keep harping on about that. We know he's the Tottenham manager now. But my belief is, number one, he would have taken the job. Number two, he's a very good short-term fix. 1-2 years, he can bring you success. He can bring stability to the ship. We know long-term he's not always the best manager. But sometimes you've got to think in the short term. Get us out of this sticky situation and then maybe we appoint the long-term manager. But, would Arsenal have given him £15 million a season? Probably not. But you have to ask the question, how can Tottenham, £900 million in debt from a new stadium, afford to sack a manager for 12 million and hire a new one for 15 a season? But Arsenal, who apparently, we've paid off the stadium, this huge sponsorship deal with Adidas, we can't do that, or we won't do that. Who else would take the job? I can't see Arsenal appointing anybody other than Freddie Ljungberg or Mikel Arteta, who, for me, don't give me any kind of excitement. I've said a few times, I don't think this is just about being a good coach. Mikel Arteta, people use this thing, he's learning under Pep Guardiola, so he must be a great manager. Doesn't always work like that, mate. Does not always work like that. Remember Paul Clement? Spent all those years next to Ancelotti, stepped out of assistant manager, went into management, couldn't cope with it. You know, it doesn't always work that the assistant manager becomes a good manager. And as for Freddie Ljungberg, you know, no experience in management. The only good thing with Freddie, being in Invincible, the fans will really get behind him. You know, Arteta was no legend of a footballer at Arsenal. So at least the fans would back Ljungberg. Maybe short term, that's all we've got. I can't see anyone else. Could we get Brendan Rodgers off Leicester? I think you'd struggle to get him right now. And I can't see who else. You know, Eddie Howe doesn't excite me. You know, some people have mentioned the Wolves manager. I'm not sure about him either. Ten Hag at Ajax has already said he will not leave Ajax mid-season. He wants to see out the season. I think Nagelsmann, is it, the young German coach at, I think it's Leipzig as well. He's done well, but again, you know, it's a massive job to step into. Is he ready for it? Maybe. I can't see many options. You know, Allegri, would he take the job? You know, there were rumours coming out that he was interviewed for the job after Wenger left, and apparently, you know, possibly turned it down because of the lack of money to spend. So the options are limited. So this isn't just about getting rid of Emery now, which I believe we do need to get rid of Emery, but who do we bring in to replace him? And are the board brave enough to make the decision? Because to me, it seems like they're not going to sack him. They're doing their best to stick with him, and that worries me. We was calling Raul Don Raul in the summer. I'm now wondering, number one, does this guy have the power that we thought he had, or is he just another puppet in the Kroenke enterprise? And number two, is he sticking with his fellow countrymen because, you know, apparently they get on well, and, you know, there were rumours he wanted Luis Enrique, who I didn't really want as Arsenal manager either. So now I'm worried, you know, what direction are we heading in? Another theory I've also got, are Arsenal looking at it going, top four's pretty much gone, which it isn't completely, but it's not looking good. And are they now thinking, well, the only way back into the Champions League is to win the Europa League? And Emery actually does have a good record in the Europa League. You know, he's won it 3 times. He got us to the final, although he completely embarrassed himself in the final. So is that their thinking? I'm not saying I agree with that, you know, at all, but I'm thinking, is that what the board are looking at it like? Well, the only hope of us Champions League is winning the Europa League, and this is a good manager at winning the Europa League. We're in a dangerous situation. You know, Raul Sanelli made a comment in the summer, in an interview he did on Arsenal.com, that any top player with 2 years left on his contract would have to renegotiate and extend, or would be sold. So you explain to me why Aubameyang and Lacazette are in the last 2 years of their contract. Why were they not signing new deals in the summer, or if not, sold? You know, you've contradicted yourself completely. So I have no faith in this football club at the moment, and where are we going? What direction? We're just going down at the moment. We've got Norwich away on the weekend. I've got no confidence we'll win that game. Norwich are not a great side, and we should be going there and winning, but the way we're setting up, the fact we played 5 defenders against Southampton at home, second from bottom in the league, lost 9-0 a few weeks ago, that tells you all you need to know about Unai Emery. And some of the performances, I was quite critical of the players in my review after the game. I mentioned Alexis Sanchez in his last full season at the club. It was a poor Arsenal team, but he took personal pride in his own performance and he kept his level high. All right, the team is struggling, but it doesn't mean I have to, you know, down tools and not perform. Why can't I play well just because the manager isn't the manager we want? These guys are just willing to let it go. All right, the manager's not setting us up always in the right way. But there's no excuse for turning your back on a free kick for the first goal. You know, we missed chances to get back into that game. You know, when Pepe's one-on-one with a keeper, Unai Emery's not telling him not to shoot. You know, sometimes the players have to take responsibility as well. It's a joint thing. Emery's not good enough, but the players aren't good enough. We have to start realising as fans that these players aren't as good as we think. For me, Leno, decent keeper. Aubameyang, good goal scorer, although his game's quite limited. Lacazette's got a decent all-round game, but he's quite limited in the amount of goals he scores. Apart from that, I genuinely don't rate any other player in the Arsenal squad. Some of them are all right, some have got potential, but if you're talking about really good players, not for me. Tierney, he's recently signed, so I'll give him a chance. But the rest of them, if you can make an argument, I think Ozil's past his best. Ceballos, I haven't seen enough. He was overhyped after the good Burnley game. Torreira as a DM, he's okay. He's no N'Golo Kante, that's for sure. Guendouzi's got potential. Willock's got potential. Luiz is past his best. Socrates past his best. Bellerin's not a great defender. He's an athlete. Leno, as I said, I rate. Pepe has struggled. I don't know whether he's going to make it in the Premier League or not. Martinelli's got a lot of potential. So who else, Nobody is at that level that we require. And that's the reality. This team isn't good enough. And the sooner we realise that, the better. It doesn't actually even hurt me as much anymore when Arsenal drop points. It's just more disappointment because I'm used to it. And that's the sad thing. Don't forget, like, comment. Let me know what you think. I've made quite a few comments there. What players do you rate in this Arsenal team? I don't rate many of them. Emery, why are the board not sacking him? Is it time to turn on the board? Do we need to force them out of the club? And if you are going to get rid of Emery, who do you bring in? Would Allegri want the job? Are Arteta and Ljungberg ready for the job? Is there anyone else out there that's good enough that would take it? Should we have appointed Mourinho? In my opinion, I would have liked to have seen that happen. Let me know what you think. Keep supporting the channel. Like, comment, subscribe. We'll be back with more videos later in the week. Bless.